Apologies if I'm recapping bits because I know a couple of you have already done some pastels, but good to have a refresh anyway. But I'll start from kind of like a beginner level. So you should have some pastel paper that's got a bit of a tooth to it, so it should have a bit of a grip, and it usually comes with kind of a protector sheet in between, but don't worry if you've not got that, because you can always fix your pastel in place afterwards with hairspray or fixative. So to begin with, we're just going to start by doing a few different techniques with the pastels. So first of all, it's quite good to draw a circle and then to experiment with making that look like an actual sphere. So to try and make it look light in one area and dark in another area, and that means you're going to have to layer pastels over one another, and you're going to need to work into it. Now, it's really easy to just kind of do that and think, oh, I've done it, but you can see that there's lots of gaps. So what you really do want is quite a thick, opaque covering, and it means that you might have to blend a little bit as well. So there are lots of options for blending. And well, do any of you know what they are before I tell you what they are?
Finger.
Yes, excellent.
Yes,
One
yeah.
of those these paper roll things.
Yeah, the stubs, yeah. So these are a blending tool. They're not very expensive to buy, and they just stop you getting pastel all over your hands. But also your hand has oils in it, so it stops the oils kind of transferring onto the page as well. I would definitely say to experiment with a range of ways of blending. So you finger the blending tools, you're welcome to borrow mine as well if you want, but also you can use a sponge, and you can even use a cotton pad as well to get a bit of a softer effect. So it makes it a bit more ghostly, it rubs a lot of it away. So if you want something that's really light and soft, like for example, Maggie's bought this really soft ghostly image, so these bits here where it's really, really faint, I definitely say to use cotton pad for that. And then as well as practicing with the blending, it's good to do a range of mark making. So I'm going to do a bit of hatching here, and also doing kind of dabs of different colours and interspersing that with another colour. And what tends to happen is there's a visual effect with the eye where when two different colours are placed next to each other in very close proximity, they visually blend. So if you look at this, I know at the moment you can see the colours are distinct, and I am overlapping them slightly, so they are intermixing slightly. But if I put this away from quite a distance, you wouldn't see the blue and the pink, you'd see almost purple. Because you're, yeah, exactly.
Like a charcoal pointillism or something.
Yes, exactly. And then another technique that a lot of people use for drawing and pastel is feathering. So it's a bit like pointillism, like you say, but lots of little dashes and lines. So they feather all the different tones in amongst each other like that. And then you could keep just adding so many different, tones to that, and you could just keep going with that. So you could fill an entire sphere, but with a different sort of technique as well. And then as well as blending dry, you can use pastels wet, which not a lot of people are aware of. So you can actually use water with it. Now we're going to play a little game. Which one's water and which one's alcohol?
I'll taste it for you.
Hey!
One of them gin.
Oh, gin is too good to give away. So I thought, when I was raiding my alcohol cabinet, I thought I'm not giving gin away.
I think this one's alcohol, but nearest.
White.
Looks whiter. No.
No, it's the other way round. So water is really good for, you know, blending your pastel. It looks darker, but it's going to dry lighter. But then, what do you think the benefit to using alcohol is instead of water?
Does it fix?
Dries quicker.
It dries a lot quicker. And I just feel like it gives you a stronger blend, if you see what I mean.
Alcohol, don't we?
Yeah.
It reacts with oil, doesn't it? Then
So we could get drunk while we're doing this.
Well, this is the thing. So I've bought some with me to give you a little bit, and I've bought little shot glasses. So don't be drinking it now, guys, because I know what you like. But bonus to whoever can guess exactly what type of alcohol it is. I don't drink neat vodka or
Does it
well,
smell
not
like surgical
vodka,
spirits?
but I'm not really a
Bacardi?
vodka drinker.
Bacardi?
No.
Is it surgical spirit?
Is it just?
Oh, actually, no. It is Bacardi. It is Bacardi.
Because that's rum,
Yeah, because it's rum, but it is Bacardi, isn't it? You can also put pastels on wet paper, so you can see that makes a huge difference to on dry. And then you can also do an underpainting. Did I bring them?
I found a use for the
I'll use the
Bacardi
Annalyn
then.
keys. Oh, these are the new ones, the gift. I'll
I
use
don't
these
drink,
ones.
so
Have you ever done an underpainting under soft pastel before? No?
What's it? Are they just watercolour?
painted the whole canvas that we did it with. Do you remember we painted?
Oh yeah, but that
It was
is
acrylic and then did the pastel on
What
top.
type
we
of
compared
paint?
the board.
Watercolour,
It's
it's
dry.
watercolour, yeah.
It's not like this, is it?
We
You
prepared
prepared a
a
board.
canvas board with paint.
But it was completely
It
dry.
was mixed with something else to make the board more absorbent, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
And it's quite nice to use the pastels on their side sometimes.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't
Do
it?
you use
And
it wet?
yeah, well, really technically I should wait for it to dry, but I'm just for the purposes of demonstration. Yeah, it makes it a bit more a bit bolder actually, and I really love to sort of layer, and this is the great thing about pastels is you can keep layering, and if you make a mistake it's important to remember you've got two options. Do you know what the options are?
Run away and scream. Go over, push in the bin,
Yeah, so
work on top.
or remove. Remove, you can use a rubber, but it's important to remember that that is never going to rub it completely away. So you can see I've got my line there, but it's not, you're still going to get a ghost impact of it.
Could you use like a cotton bud or something?
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah. So I've said to bring little cotton buds with you, so that will help remove it. You can remove it and then layer on top. If you are going to layer on top, say you don't like that colour and you want to put a lighter colour on top, you're still going to see the colour underneath coming through because it's soft and it's going to mix in. So if you do want to layer on top and to hide something, you don't want the colour underneath to come through so much, you need to fix it. So you need to fix it with your hairspray or your fixative spray, which is going to keep it in place. So when you put the colour on top, it's not going to be as visible, the colour underneath. So your choices are fix and layer or remove if you make a mistake. The other technique, which I think's really nice for if you're doing anything like a landscape, and I do think pastels really suit themselves to landscape because they give a real sense of movement and texture. To create a spray effect like a splatter, do you know how to do that?
Great.
Yeah.
Done that. It looks really
It's so nice. So you can just do it with your fingernail and you just sort of shave it off like that. Yeah. There's two ways you can use the splatter. One way is to use it and you can use that as a dust. So if you just want a soft effect, you can use it as a dust. But the other way is to fix that in place. Do you know how to do that?
With the spray again, is it? Yeah.
Well, you could do, but I still feel like it sometimes falls off. Because, so you
do it with...
And I use my slightly harder pastel then, because you usually have a couple in your pack that are a bit harder, and then I push over the top.
You're
Like
pushing
that.
it into the grain base.
Yeah, pushing it in,
Yeah.
fixing it in, and then you've got your splatter effect. And that is really effective when you add a few different tones on there as well. So that's really, really good. So I think they're kind of like the main techniques that I wanted to show you.
Looks fun.
Thanks. Your sandpaper. So do you know, guys, how to use a sandpaper with pastels?
No, I didn't.
No?
I didn't.
So you
really
can-
think
so-
that.
Yeah, so you can use your sandpaper to shape the pastels, but it's actually got a few different uses. So if you're trying to remove something, can I just pinch a little bit of yours? Mine is in there somewhere, but if you're trying to remove a layer, you can actually use it to take a layer off. So you can just see now that that's removed that light green layer, and now you can just see the dark layer.
Yeah.
So it's a good remover tool, it's a good shaper tool, but also it's a good base for your pastel. So there's artists out there who do entire drawings just on a sheet of sandpaper, because the grip and the tooth is so thick,
Yeah.
and it's just a really intense. So if you Google soft pastel sandpaper, you'll find the most incredible paintings with pastel on sandpaper. You wouldn't think it, would you? But it's so you can use it as a base, as a shaper, or as a remover. Once we've tried a few different techniques, and you might want to kind of note what they were or how you did them, so you've got that to come back to, I thought then we could have a go
Can I
at...
just ask you what you
Yeah.
do about, you know, the sphere, for example? Do you blow I mean, Jan was always saying don't blow it.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
tap
that's
it
a
off?
good point. Yeah, so it's going to get just really dusty if we blow off, and it all